I told you, many unique businesses that we are franchising, but also there are some that are a little more on the traditional side, the food and beverage. 25 to 30% of our clients are that. So our next success story, Matt from Matty G's. You know, we teach our franchisees to take things slow. Our franchisors, take things slow. You know, hope you sell 1 or 2 units your first year. Well, Matt didn't listen to us. He had to be the outlier and do it the big way, the grand way. I'll let him explain what that is, but we're glad that he didn't listen to us and he's done a fantastic job. Come on up, Matt.
There you go. Anyhow, for those of you who don't know me, I am Matt Gorman. My company is Matty G's Steakburgers and Lobster Rolls. We're based out of Arizona. And like Rick said, we have been kind of lucky this year, and I just kind of want to give you my experience with Franchise Genesis, the whole Great American Franchise, etc. Because we started about 1.5 years ago with the process, and if it not for Monique, I'd probably still be getting through the process, but she does keep you on track, and she's a valuable asset. But literally, I was with you guys, or sitting like you guys, back in March. And I was probably what you are doing right now, thinking, holy Toledo, there's a lot of information. I'm scared, I don't know how to get through this, what do I do? And that's how I felt. My wife wound up joining me, and we kind of went through this first show going, I don't know what's going to happen. And so if you're sitting here now, don't worry, everybody's thinking the same thing. Don't stress. What's nice about Franchise Genesis as a whole and all their sister companies is they literally will walk you through everything. We actually had a number of stores at one time, and I got pretty ill, and my wife basically said, hey, let's franchise this, otherwise you're going to be 6 feet under. And she was right. Because in the restaurant business, if you've ever been in it, you work your butt off. And if you don't have the right people, you're basically working every day. So we approached it, we met via Zoom or one of those technology sites. I'm in restaurant business, so I don't know that stuff. But we talked to Rick on a few different occasions, and from the beginning kind of felt like, hey, we're in the right spot. Very patient with us, very knowledgeable. And like I said, we met Monique, and I'm in Arizona, Steve's in Arizona. Have to kind of say that Steve's really been kind of a mentor for me in that he's answered any questions that I have. And I'm sure he's like, dude, stop with the questions, man. Figure it out yourself. But he answers them. So for those of you who are sitting here, I just kind of want to say that it's a one-stop shop like Rick put up there before. You have all different aspects. We all want to try to save $1. That's reality, right? We want to get something for the best value for the least amount of money. And this is really one of those situations, because if you did want to try to go get the FDD through a lawyer, if you did want to go through this, and if you did want to go through that, you don't have anybody to ask. You know, you don't have anybody to mentor you. You don't have anybody to go, Monique, I have no idea what I'm doing. And so the situation is such where you're comfortable. You know, like you can actually figure things out. You can sit there and go, hey, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to approach it. And you can ask people and they'll give you the answers. And what's nice about it as well is I've had a lot of friends that I've met through the shows, and we're all going through the same experience. Like, there's a guy, Brock, you'll see tomorrow, 2 guys, no truck. We talk, I consider him a good friend at this point, and we kind of go, hey, did you hear this? Did you hear that? You need this, you need that. And it's really nice because too often, you kind of feel like you're on an island by yourself. Not only are you trying to run a business, but then you're trying to grow a business. And what I will say is what Rick did say, I got a little lucky. I mean, look, we all are gonna work our asses off. We all love our product. I have a passion. You want to talk about food? Look at this belly. I got it. Like, I am ready. But I love my restaurant. I'm so proud of my restaurant. And we've been able to, at the Dallas show, and it was Irving, I guess it is, you know, for like 2 hours straight, was just talking to one right after the other after the other. It was a great show for us. It was a great show for a lot of people. And from that, we actually wound up getting a master franchise. So we sold all of Canada through our first show. Pretty cool. And so actually we have one coming in downtown Toronto and one coming in suburban Toronto once they find locations in the first part of 25. But what I would say is this, is when you have a passion for your product, sell it to people. And what my dad always taught me is you treat the janitor the same way you would treat the president. And so whenever somebody comes up to your table and asks, treat them with the respect, because you never know. Like literally, I told you I spoke for about 2 hours straight about our product. And my wife, like 5 days later, what's now our master franchise in Canada, he followed up, and following up is very important on all your leads, and make sure you get the app to get all their information. If you don't know how to do that, make sure you ask somebody. But followed up, and we got it. My wife was like, I knew that guy, he came by 3 times. I was like, I can't remember who he is. I've talked to so many people. But he saw how passionate I was. And when you do go to these shows, try to make your booth so inviting that people want to come up. Be that person who says hello to everybody. Be that person who goes, you know what? That was me. Because I have a 18-year-old, or almost 19-year-old son, and his girlfriend's parents were going to franchise. And we're like, why do you want to franchise? And they said, because we don't know how to do a business like you do. We look at 4 walls and see 4 walls. You're shaking your head. When we look at 4 walls, we see a restaurant. We see a vibe. We see something special that we could bring to somebody. And so we have been fortunate. We have sold, like I said, the master franchise in Canada. I'm trying not to do this, because when I sing karaoke, I put my finger up, so I'm trying not to do that. But we have sold a couple, like I said, in Toronto. We have 2 that we sold in Idaho, in Boise and Eagle. Those are going to be opening up hopefully at the end of this month and in the middle of next month. And it looks like tonight I have a person who's going to potentially open in Houston. So it's one of those where once you get that first one, the next tend to go. And while there is the Maya situation, and what a studette she is, I mean what she is, but reality is for the mom and pops, who it's just my wife and myself, you can still be successful, and Franchise Genesis as a whole will help you be successful. And the last thing I would say is this: go to as many shows as you can, because one person can make it so that you're successful. And that first one that you sell, you might have to do a little extra, put in a little extra elbow grease and sweat equity kind of thing, but make it happen, because once you have one, then comes the next, and then comes the next. And if you do have questions, there couldn't be a better organization for you to go to. I don't know, maybe there's something cheaper out there, but there's not something better. So that would be what I have to say. Any questions? Yes, sir. Got a mic?
Okay. How do you organize your logistics? For example, if your first sale was in Iowa and you're in Arizona, how did you came up with a plan to serve that franchisee with bread, onions, lettuce, meat, whatever?
You're a restaurant guy. I could tell. Basically, my wife happened to work for both US Foods and Shamrock through the years. So we have our master order guide. And between those two, I'm not a huge Cisco fan, but between US Foods and Shamrock, they pretty much cover the US. And as far as opening a store, kind of realized what was going on, and I have both myself to go out there along with my GM from our Mesa location, who's been with us for 3 to 4 years. They're going to be our opening team, and then the goal is as we grow to have additional people come through the system to then train properly. But we do have our Bible, you know, with our recipes and the 140 some items on things. But when we just went to Idaho we were able to go, here's our Mesa guide, our order guide, take it, and 99% of the items were there. And for those that weren't, you just alter it a little bit.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
Hey,
I'll
Matt,
be at the show tomorrow.
Hey, Matt,
and
why
Sunday.
don't you tell, this doesn't show much about you have kind of a unique model, I think. Why don't you tell them a little bit about your brand a little bit?
Okay, yeah, so we are known as Forest Steakburgers. That's our niche. We also have lobster rolls, like a West Coast style lobster roll, which is on like a 6-inch hoagie. You got your cucumbers, daikon radish, spring mix, your protein topped with shrimp, and then we have different sauces. One being our garlic butter that goes on everything, but our miso aioli, our chipotle aioli, sriracha aioli, wasabi aioli. So we have a kind of a sushi feel to these lobster rolls. But what happens is when you come into Matty G's, and what I think creates just a unique environment is you're like walking into a mini Hall of Fame. My dad's 77 years old. He comes out to every store and he puts up old school sports decor, like baseball, football, you name it.
Yeah, you can see just a couple there, but it's really unique. It's cool. Go online and look at the store.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he thinks he's Picasso now. Like he's like, hey, I need to make sure I got enough canvas and everything else. But the reality is he loves it. And what we've tried to create in a restaurant is when people come in, they see these old sports decor and can tell stories from grandpas to sons to grandsons. So not only do the sports stories not die, but people can kind of get together and have the old school family type of meal. And it's pretty special because not only does my dad do the decor, my sons have worked at the restaurant, even 14. He wants money, so he'll do dishes. But my wife has worked at the restaurant. It's a family thing, and so what we're trying to do is create that franchise model with people who can understand it and appreciate it.
One over here.
How much did you sell your master franchise for?
I'm not at will to say that, but we did pretty well.
There were several zeros there.
We did okay, and the reality is we found somebody who really believed in us. And that's the biggest thing. I'd say, I don't know if Maya or Mr. Robot Guy, how they felt with their first few, but your first few are so important because if they fail, you look bad. So you really got to find the right people. So it's pretty important.
Also, we didn't mention this, I don't think Bill did. Bankruptcies have to be disclosed. So franchises that go in and out of the, pardon me? And franchises that go out of the system are disclosed. So every year that FDD is updated, it shows every franchisee that got out of the system for whatever reason, whether they were terminated, whether they sold, whatever that might be. So pretty much everything gets disclosed every year, and you're right. I mean, bankruptcies get disclosed. I can't remember, Bill, in terms of it.
Franchisees, but your bankruptcy, but more to your point, item 20, SBA, lending, and everything in the United States, they very much look at that item 20 if people were exiting the system regardless of reason why. And sometimes there's state risk factors as well. So that's a great.
That's right, yeah. I didn't think the franchisee actually had to be, if they went bankrupt, was.
We can say they exited the system.
Yes, okay, that's right. That's right. All right.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate it.